From WFRV Local 5, your local election headquarters, this is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning. Welcome to Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. Well, with Election Day coming up on November the 8th, it seems all the attention has been on the two big races, U.S. Senate and Wisconsin governor. But voters will also be going to the polls to decide some big referendum questions. And one of the biggest in the state is the referendum issue going on in Appleton. And joining me this morning to talk about that, Appleton School Superintendent Greg Hartjes. Greg, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for being here. The two big questions that Appleton is going to decide, Appleton residents going to the polls for two questions. Would you break them down for me? Question number one. What are you asking for?
It's a capital referendum question, and that means that we're looking for funding for projects at all 27 of our schools. 27 schools, including the addition of a 28th school. We would like to build another elementary school. So that's our first question.
And what kind of money are we talking here? What are you asking
$129.8 million.
All right, and then question two.
Question two is an operational question. It's a $5 million question, and there's three parts to it. And the first part is to add staffing for STEM. The second part is to add staffing so we can reduce class sizes in kindergarten, first and second grade. And then the third part of that question is to fund the cleaning, utilities, and maintenance that we need on what would be 300,000 additional square feet across our district.
You're looking for a new elementary school on the northeast side of Appleton. Why the need? What's happening over there?
So that's the last area of growth that's currently happening and the last area of real growth potential in our district. And so it's an area that we've had our eye on. We actually purchased property 22 years ago with the intention of putting an elementary school and perhaps someday a middle school on that property. And so now at the point where that area has grown such that we do believe that we need a new elementary there.
So are all these schools, all 27, are they getting renovations, additions, everything? Everybody?
Everybody. We have brought together a committee of 75 individuals from our community and our district and parents. And one of the real important outcomes of that committee was that they wanted equity. They wanted every student to be impacted by a referendum. They wanted every school to be positively impacted by a referendum. So they very clearly said we don't want to build a new school in the newest part of our town, forget about all our other schools. And we do have 22 out of our 27 schools that are over 50 years old. The average age of our schools is 66 years. And so many of our schools have significant needs, and others just have needs that we need to address based on just simply age and maybe an outdated educational model when they were built.
And that normally happens when a city has a referendum like this. It's usually building one huge high school or one huge middle school. But here you're kind of spreading the wealth.
We are. We're prioritizing the elementary level. We want to do additions across our 4 middle schools to move 6th graders out of our elementary schools into our middle schools. And that is something that came up when we looked at the overcapacity schools that we have in our district. Several of them don't have room on their grounds for an addition. So when we looked at how we can't add on to some of our schools, a suggestion was, why don't we move students out to the middle school, free up space as needed at the elementary school. So that's what we're going to do. And in the space that we free up, we want to construct STEM labs. So all 16 of our elementary schools, all 4 of our middle schools would have top-of-the-line, innovative STEM spaces, something we've been looking for a long time.
Do these referendum questions at all address any security issues at your schools?
We addressed a lot of security issues in our 2014 referendum. So at that time, we already were thinking about significant renovations to our schools that were needed to move the access to the building to the front. So our offices in many of our schools were traditionally in the middle of the building. And we've been able to move them out to the front of the building so all visitors have to come through our offices. But we have 2 of our elementary schools that we weren't able to complete those projects. So one of them we're hoping to take part in this referendum. So we are looking at security for 1 of our elementary schools. And then down the road, we'll look to that 2nd elementary school to complete that.
Our guest this morning is Greg Hartjes, Superintendent of the Appleton School District, and we have much more to come on those referendum questions right after this, so please stay with us.